All right, guys. Hopefully, I am live and everything is working okay. Let me double check my little bouncy lights here. Test 1 2. Looks like everything's going all right. If you guys can hear me, give me a thumbs up or just let me know. And if you can see things, it's the same on that. My nifty preview, as I'm sitting here waiting, hasn't started, so I'll have to post here in a second that if you're not seeing anything, to refresh. Actually, if somebody could do that, that would be really helpful. And let me see if I can get this to go. Hopefully, I'm actually live. So yeah, looks like it's going. So now I have okay. All right. So welcome to the 80. Is it 81st? I have to double check. Let me swing over here to the 81st. Holy cow! The 81st live show. Old Shawnee Road Old Shawnee Road says can see and hear you, nor no distorted sound. Well, you know, there's a funny story about that, and maybe you've seen that in the Discord if you're on that. But after the Sunday impromptu show, Robert was nice. I don't know if Robert's going to be on today. Robert was nice enough to, since he had a lot of great suggestions, hang out for literally hours going over everything. It was incredibly frustrating. Obviously, I think I've isolated it. One was a bad mixer. This thing frickin' failed on me, which was just brilliant. So I'm using my podcasting mixer, which is a better quality one. Hopefully that'll work okay. And I had to reconfigure my video input. So I think I'm good. I think everything is good. So before I jump into what we're going to talk about today, let me just see who all is online and can say hello to people. So I already mentioned Old Shawnee Road, but Old Shawnee Road, welcome. Glad you could jump on. Jenny Wren's on all the way from Ireland. So thank you for hanging out with us. This is, let's see, Breaking Bombast. I think he was just on for a few minutes because he's got his work schedule doesn't allow him to hang out anymore on the live shows. But he was in earlier before we went live in the pre-show to say hello. I think he's got a new video out. You guys should check it out if you haven't checked it out already. I haven't had an opportunity to look at it myself. Neo Dad, wow, haven't seen you on in a while. Welcome, Neo Dad. Glad you're here, and hopefully things are going okay. So would love. Yeah, it's been a while, so I'd love to hear an update on your situation if you would want to share. Bryce Lynch is on. Welcome, Bryce. Glad you could jump on. Haven't seen you in a couple of weeks as well. We have Chris. Where I think last on Saturday or Sunday when I did that impromptu show, I think I actually, or was it whatever? I think it was Sunday that I shared his blue hair and tried to share the link to the donation thing for the Make-A-Wish, and I don't think that worked out well. So, and I'm not feeling incredibly well, so and even though it's hot, I have made myself some green tea, so hopefully that'll help drive me through the show. So that'll be spectacular, hopefully. Diamond Destiny is on, says good evening from Jamaica. So welcome, Diamond. Glad you could jump on. Schaefer1234 is here. Donnie Earthling is here. Welcome, you guys. And Amy loves history. Amy loves history. I think I think you're new. So welcome to the channel and welcome to the live show. We have Spiritually Empowered all the way from Canada, which I know a few of you guys are from Canada. So welcome, glad you could jump on. She's really starting to, and I need to put all this stuff in a queue. She's actually really shifting or doing a pivot from doing a lot of stuff on Facebook and Facebook Live to YouTube. So she's posting a lot of videos there. I think I was talking to her last night or maybe the day before, and she's getting ready to start making some more original content for just YouTube. What she's been doing is she's been taking... See, the problem with Facebook is you can't find stuff. So she's got a lot of really great content that is a nightmare. At least, okay, maybe I'm just search impaired, but I can't ever find it. So, but I can find stuff on YouTube. So definitely check her out. Maybe a little bit later, I can pull up her channel so you guys can find her. And we are still working on trying to do another collaboration. We just... it's just a scheduling issue. Primarily, I think the scheduling problem is with me. So Dawn Elizabeth is online. So welcome, Dawn. Lyell Lloyd is on. Said the video quality. He was giving me some grief the other day. Again, well, the thing is, you got to realize he's an old TV broadcaster. I don't mean to say old. Wow. But a lot of experience in broadcast news, sound, and stuff. So all you guys that are sound people, whenever I make a mistake, which I really, actually, to be honest, I really do appreciate, because whenever there's a mistake or something isn't quite right, and then I go back later and I hear it, it drives me crazy. And I hate the fact that, and I know for the most part when you're on your phone and stuff, you might not notice it, but it really drives me up the wall. Maybe my perfectionism or my what's a compulsive disorder or whatever, which I don't have that, but I mean, sometimes it feels like it. Connie Martinez, haven't seen you in a while, so welcome. Glad you could jump on as well. And Angela Falsetta is on. She posted this, I think, in a comment. Well, no, she didn't because she couldn't. She's been locked out of her account for a while, so she's actually today has is on her account and is able to participate. So I'm glad you're able to figure that out. You're gonna have to send me a note on how that worked out, because I know you spent a lot of time on that, and you might have been talking about that. So Lyell says no, the quality on Facebook was superior to YouTube. Wow, actually that's weird because it didn't even seem like it let me upload a 720p signal. However, I will say this: whenever I did the Facebook, so in case you guys didn't know, I did my first Facebook Live yesterday. Was impromptu. I don't know if anyone jumped on when it was live. I just did kind of like a 5-minute test. And to be honest, it was rather interesting because I used the web interface. I didn't use, all I did is I went, live on Facebook, told it through the web browser to use my camera and my microphone and hit go. And it worked. I mean, I can't do some of this other stuff like this stuff, and share. I think I can share screens, but, and I can actually interface. I can actually take this whole thing and direct it to Facebook. So it could work. The problem is Facebook drives me crazy. So, okay. So the topic for tonight is self-sabotage. And this actually came, and unless they bring it up, but it came up through a discussion on Discord. It might've been a private discussion where somebody was asking me the question. This is kind of what the talk was about on the Facebook Live. It's whenever we do self-destructive things, in our own lives. And I think a lot of us fall into that trap on a bunch of different levels, and it can manifest itself in a bunch of different destructive behaviors. For me personally, the way it worked primarily before the divorce, I do have some, I'm getting older and stuff, and I do have some medical issues, but I've been struggling with weight and diabetes for a really long time. And when I was still married, one of the things that really was devastating to me, and this is after my youngest daughter was born, or right before, because this is the way it happened. And this is just an indicator from a long history, but this is kind of a pivotal point which really shifted me into some self-destructive behavior. And the first part of it was good. And that was the ex came home one day from a prenatal appointment, and hey, Dan's on. Hey, Dan, glad you could jump on. And anyways, she was diagnosed with gestational diabetes, and she was all upset, and she's, crying and not sure what to do. And I'm like, hey, well, what, there's always things we can do. So what did the doctor say we can do? And it's like, well, we can go on a diabetic diet, yada, yada. And I'm like, okay, great. We'll do it, And she's like, what? I'm like, which I should have, in retrospect, that should have been a serious indicator of a problem, when she was surprised that I would be, hey, let's switch what we're doing. We'll just switch to eat good. We should eat good anyway, so it's not a problem. Let's do that. And we did. And it worked great. I lost a bunch of weight. She got her blood sugar under control, and things were good. The pregnancy went fine. No other issues with it. She actually was losing weight while she was pregnant, but the doctor said it was all on track. No issues there. And even after my youngest was born, we stayed on the diet. And I thought it was awesome, right? I mean, we were feeling better. We got rid of all the junk and the carbs and all that crap. Well, not all the carbs, but I mean, we were focusing on having a diabetic diet. And it was worked, right? And then like a year and a half into it, she hit the target weight she wanted to hit. And I remember coming home one day and she said, yeah, I'm done doing this. We're not going to do this anymore. I'm like, what? We're not going to do what? We're not going to do this diet anymore. I'm going back to eating. I don't want to eat this way anymore. We're going back to eating whatever. Your problem to me, she's like, your problem is portion control. You just need to eat less and you can figure it out, but I'm not doing this anymore. And, you know, I've often talked or spoke about how narcissistic people expose themselves. They tell you who they are multiple times throughout your life. And she was absolutely telling me right then by her actions and her words that she didn't give a crap about me and that my issues were not of any of her concern. Again, the thing with that is that's why, in my opinion, why she was so surprised when she was really upset. And because at one point I said, I'm not gonna, what am I gonna do? Make you, you're gonna eat bird food and the rest, and I'm gonna demand that you make me steak and potatoes. I'm not gonna do that. No, if we got to switch to fish, we'll switch to fish. And I didn't like fish back then, so that's what you do, right? That's what that is what a caring, loving spouse partner does. So. Now, how does this tie into the self-sabotage? Well, instead of being able to see that for what it was devastating to me. And what I ended up doing is I'm like, F it. You know what? Nobody cares. Give me an extra, we're having 9,000 carbs, pile it on more. And I gained all the weight back. As it progressed on, my doctor was like, hey, you're getting really close to being pre-diabetic. And all of that, and I remember coming in and saying, hey, pumpkin, we, my doctor's saying this, we need to do something. No, not my problem. You can go buy your own food. You can go make your own stuff. Ain't doing it. Not doing it. So, what was that? That was, think about that. That was, my youngest right now is 12. So, we're talking about, what, not 12 years ago, but, I guess technically it'd be 10 years ago when all this stuff was happening. And I started spiraling out of control. So, all right, so let me see. I see a couple of questions here, and then I can get into the second part of this story. And the reason I'm talking about this, like I said, it was brought up to me during just in a direct message, and I think it's important to talk about this because maybe if you can recognize your own destructive choices, you can decide to trying to do something a little different. Okay, so let me just, before I grab Bear's question, which I'll pop into a slide, I'm just going to scroll up a little bit because whenever I'm actually giving these monologues, even though the text is literally right here, it's hard for me to see because I'm focusing on you guys. I'm focusing on talking directly to you, and I can't read it as scrolling up. So, Elizabeth is on. Welcome. Says hello, everyone. Welcome, Elizabeth. Glad you could jump on. Donna Elizabeth says, we love you, Dwayne. Thank you, guys. I really, I don't want to say I love you guys, but I do really, you guys really do mean a lot to me. And I often think about how you're doing. There's a few people who've moved on who I actually want to reach out to make sure that you're doing okay. Kiara, thanks for the super chat. It says, always a great topic. So thank you for that. I appreciate that. And let me scroll up here and just double check what has rolled off the screen. Oh, Spiritually Empowered said, even for me, finding is a nightmare, but posting the oldies, and, oh yeah, she's talking about her own channel, posting the oldies and goodies to YouTube. Yeah, it's one of those things where I hate trying to find something on YouTube. If I find something and then I want to show it to somebody, I have to spend 20 minutes scrolling down my feed until I find it. If somebody knows the magic secret on finding stuff on Facebook, I meant to say Facebook, not YouTube, let me know. Michael V's on. Welcome, Michael. And Rebel Law 1 is on as well. So I think Michael was talking about something in the in the Discord before I jumped on, and if I had the wrong person, I apologize. But Michael, on that, if you were the one asking, saying your lawyer would not push our family wizard, I would say force him to do it. I would tell him, you know what? I hear what you're saying. I want you to put it in there as mandatory. You know, we don't have to say we want it mandatory because we think that she's a narcissistic cluster B personality type, but that it needs to be in there for consistency and stability. And actually, there is a mechanism where your kids can have it so where they can see what's planning too. So it's not just because of toxic exes, it's actually a communication tool for everybody. I mean, I actually was able on our OWF, our family wizard, was actually able to add the kids on to try to share, trips and plans and stuff. I mean, it has a lot of benefits. So, anyways, okay. Let me go grab this question, or let me search for questions. Okay, so I'm going to go through, and I see Dawn had asked a question about this, so I am going to grab her comment, and then I'll go through all the comments that are on here, and then we'll drive the discussion from there. Okay, keynote if it loads, which it did. All right, so Dawn Elizabeth says, I'm gaining momentum on this, but what do you do to improve or lessening the self-sabotage even more? Okay, the biggest thing on that is recognizing that it's actually happening. I see sometimes we don't think about it, right? I mean, when I was giving you the example earlier, I mean, I knew I was sabotaging myself, but I was tying it into, excuse me, I was tying it into the fact that, how am I trying to word this? That, let me back up. My problem is I was basing my happiness on my relationship with my ex. So when my ex didn't give a crap about me, then I was thinking, well, why should I care? Because she doesn't care, which is effing stupid, right? I mean, like I said, I'm not feeling really well, so I'm getting a tickle. So stand by as I drink some nice warm green tea. And hopefully that helps my throat. Jeez, this could be a pain. So I think my point is, Dawn, is it's whenever you can look at what's going on, realize you're making bad choices, and then make a different choice to do something different. Now, I still eat crappily, but I'm kind of watching everything and I'm kind of gauging what I'm doing. So it's not as bad. And I don't just, binge eat like I used to. God, I don't think I have time anymore. I mean, geez, things are going so damn fast that I'm kind of just going from not one crisis to the next. I'm going from it's like I have the kids and then boom, then it's to work. And then I get some, basically I finally get some free time, and then I'm either working on the channel or I haven't been doing videos for a while, but doing the live shows and stuff. So, I mean, it's like I'm running to the next priority to get done, which is great. It keeps me focused. I just wish I had a little bit more breathing time. Lyell says, I think the self-sabotage is a reaction we're not aware of. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying, right? I mean, and that's why I think it's important. Let me go back over here. I think that's why it's important to talk about it, because maybe somebody out there is going through this and they'll go, oh crap. Yeah, I'm doing that, right? Well, Lyell says drink whiskey. Well, maybe, that might help my throat. But what I was thinking when he said that initially, what popped in my head is self-medicating to numb it, right? I mean, and depending on what you're doing on that can be destructive as well. I mean, you end up, it starts to impact other parts of your life. I mean, and the hard part is whenever you feel like everything is falling apart, you don't feel like you're worth it at all. And that just leads to just bad decisions and bad choices. And, part of this whole struggle and like what I talk about, like the dark days, or the dark days for me, is being in that mode to where I felt I had no future. I felt that everything that was important, and I'm sure all you guys can relate to this, everything that was important to me was destroyed. My whole reason for being, existing, being a father, being a spouse, a husband, a provider, was all ripped away. And it's like you sit there and you're looking at your life going, what is the point? I mean, everything's gone. And then when you get into that mode and you feel like you're not worth anything, and I mean, that scenario, what I just said, could equally be tied to somebody who is a stay-at-home mom and taking care of or stay-at-home parent. Let me say that, because it's both moms and dads now who do that. But it's the same thing. If you have this whole world and then it's ripped apart, and then your kids you lose access to your kids. You're sitting there going, what, you're having this existential crisis on what in the world your life means. What is your new purpose, right? And and it's tough. It is really tough. So Molly says, I did the drinking thing, but I just ended up being hungover and bad parent. I've stopped. Yeah. And I'm glad you saw that. I recognized it. And I think that it's tough because some of these things, like for me, for eating, eating is, you have to eat, right? And so it's easy to get into a situation that's really destructive. And like I said, I'll talk about the second part of some of the stuff I did that was destructive post divorce. Let me check some of the rest of the comments. So let's see. Donnie Earthling had said, I've had an acceptance breakthrough over the last couple of weeks. All you guys and you, Dwayne, have been the surge of my lifting wave. You all rock the house. I'm waving now, not drowning. Oh, see, that's great. Yeah, that's the type of stuff, Donnie. That's the type of stuff I really like to hear, because it for me, it reinforces why this is an important thing to do. Why I make the videos and try to do all the back end stuff to bring people together. That's the point of it. Because prior to you getting that point, prior to you having that breakthrough, you felt like you were drowning. And when you're in that state, when you're in that despair, it's devastating, and you can really start going down the pit of hell. And every day that every moment that you're going farther down into that, you have to turn around at some point and go back up, right? So the sooner we can help somebody see that and turn around, the better it'll be for them, and the easier it'll be for them. Not that any of this is easy. Oh man. Let's see what we got on the thing. It says, Jenny says, yes, I hear you, Dwayne. You feel that why is it that I always do that? I always look at the top one right before it scrolls off. It says, yes, I hear you, Dwayne. You feel that all the work you've been have done, or that you feel that all the work had been for nothing. And I absolutely relate to that. Hey, just to double check. So I am sounding good, right? This is no issues. I do have my air conditioner running and ceiling fan, so there's a possibility that you could be hearing some of that. I hope you're not, because this microphone's really supposed to help with that, but just want to throw that out there just to make sure. And Old Johnny Road says, still sounding good. God, my throat is not feeling good. Ugh. Okay, let me scroll back up here. Dawn Elizabeth says, yes, Dwayne, and drink water. I see, I do have my nice thing of ice water. But I do drink a lot of water now, which is great. I need to still phase off of coffee. I just am having a hard time with that. Okay, let me scroll back down here. And just to throw out there, if you say something and I miss it, there's nothing wrong with repeating it. And like the other day, somebody even was noticing I kept missing someone's question. And actually it is, no, I drink distilled water at work with bottled water. That's actually out of the fridge through a filter. But anyways, wow. Oof, man, don't you hate that feeling when you're starting to get sick? You're like, oh man, my throat's tickling and I'm feeling a little warm. Man, I hate that. I hate that. Okay. So let's see what else we got here. Lyell said, if you see something on YouTube, copy the URL and paste it in a file on your desktop. Actually, I bookmark a lot of things too. Bookmark? Add it to a playlist? Whatever. There's a way to do that within the YouTube thing. All right, so let's see. Where am I? Oh, Cerise Sepia Blackman. Glad to see you on. Haven't seen you in a while, so welcome, and hopefully you're having a good evening. See, I'm scrolling up, so I'm seeing some stuff I missed. Okay, so where are we? Oh, you know what? Let me grab to the next question, because I was just one, and I know there was three. So, whoa, now there's four. Let me do, where we got? Okay, so I did that one. And this is Bears. So let me grab Bears' comment. Our question, not comment. And oh, I feel my air conditioner actually kicked on. It's the first time I've had to turn it on. It's starting to get warm here. No, not Chrome. All right, there we go. Bear says, do we gravitate to narcs because they take over the sabotage for us? Do we less sabotage when we are with them? That's a good question. I would say that I don't think we gravitate towards them because of it. I think that we, especially if our family of origin was narcissistic and chaotic, we feel more comfortable in the chaos. And when somebody, it's really bizarre, but when somebody is emotionally neglecting you and treating you like crap, it can make you feel safe because that's the way it was when you were growing up. I mean, it sounds completely insane, but it really is a what's the word I'm looking for? Not a mechanism, but it really is a way things play out, and it's incredibly frustrating. I think what happens is it's two-part. Sometimes whenever the relationship's over, you still need the chaos, and you're doing self-destructive things for a couple of reasons. You're doing it either just because you just don't care, or because it keeps the chaos going, and it makes you, it kind of keeps that adrenaline, what I'm thinking, like the fear response, the fight or flight. Geez, I can't believe I couldn't think of that. The fight or flight thing going, because that dumps tons of adrenaline and endorphins and stuff into your system, and you can get addicted to that. And I think that's kind of the problem that happens typically with the narcissists, is they really get into that. The difference for us is that it isn't sustainable. You can't do that to your system forever, and you don't really feel comfortable in it. So I wouldn't say that we do less self-sabotage, because like in that example I was just giving you, I was absolutely sabotaging myself, and I was still with her. I mean, we were at the, 10-year mark or 13-year mark? I mean, so, it's a tough one. Okay, so let me look for the third one. Let me see what people are saying right here. So I see Matt Rainier's on. Welcome. Glad you could jump on. Molly Greeno's here as well, so welcome. And Stephanie, I must have missed Stephanie, so I didn't see her. And so let me just scroll down here. See where we're at. Ooh, purple belt. After I served separation, after I served separation to divorce papers to him, I haven't heard a peep. No more hoovering. After 2 years of it, meltdown tomorrow. Why am I still scared? Well, you're scared, Purple, because you don't know what's going to happen next, and you're used to them being unpredictable. They're predictably unpredictable. So you don't know what's going to happen. And you also know in the back of your mind that there's always something going on with them, right? So it makes it, it's understandable. And you're probably suffering from PTSD or CPTSD, depending on the situation, as a result. So, okay. Let's see. Ooh, Angela says chicken soup and tea. Man, that sounds like a good idea. I may do that after, well, not the tea, but because I'm doing that now. Oh, LaDonna Elizabeth says, because court is scary, Purple, which that's a good point too. Yeah, I do. It's been a while since I've had to go to court, but if I had to go to court tomorrow, I would be anxious. And it's normal. Because unless you spend all your time in church, or not church, court, it's going to make you feel nervous. Ooh, Lyell says, I was told depression is not sadness, but just not caring about anything. I've never heard it described that way. I'm not sure how, I mean, how do you feel about that, Lyell? Cause that, not caring about anything. Well, I mean, I could see why the person would say that, because when you get depressed, you don't have, you don't want to do anything, and you don't have the energy to do anything. But that seems like a really simplistic way to describe that. Um, I don't know. I'm not sure. I'd have to think about that one a little bit more. I don't necessarily. I don't think I would agree completely with that. Kiara says it's empowering to do a project you always wanted to do, but could not do because a narc took over all your good vibes. Definitely can relate to that one. It has kept me working towards my dreams. Yeah, there's a interesting story on that. Whenever I was married, I was trying to do this iStock photography thing, and the idea was if we could build it, we could move back to symptom. It's a symptom. Kiara says, "Bright, it's a symptom." Yeah, that's a good point. And Lyell says, "Yes, and the sad and sadness, but that's why you stay in bed." Yeah. Chris says depression has many forms and can be different for the individual if you're talking about clinical depression. That's a good point too. Mike says, doesn't sound like a clinical definition. No, I don't think it did. Oh, Stephanie Dove. Okay. Court is scary. The guardian wants our whole family psychiatric evaluated after talking to X and me, and I have no money left for my kids and are in counseling already to deal with the trauma abuse. Oof. Yeah, it's a total money pit. That one's a tough one. All right, let me grab the next question. Okay, so that wasn't that was just referencing the other one. Bryce has said, I don't get a really solid on our family wizard, Dwayne. From an IT perspective, it takes them 3 days to respond via customer service, and I question some security of information there. Believe that they are based overseas. Yeah, I'm not sure. The main thing on that, Bryce, is here's the thing, and the reason why I do recommend it, even if there might be some issues, is because if you're dealing with a narcissistic ex, they're going to screw with you in every way possible. In my court order, it was highly, or not highly, it was encouraged. Yeah, our family wizard was listed, but as optional. I said, the parties can use our family wizard, or they can continue using email. So boom, no, there was no court order to use it. The problem with email is they're going to play games with it, and mine did. Send an email, no response. Send an email, no response. I would send multiple emails, and then the answer was one of a handful of 3 answers. It was 1, oh, I'm having email problems. I didn't get your email. Oh, I'm sorry. Or 2, stop sending me emails. Stop sending me the same question over and over again. I got your question, even though they didn't answer it. And what's the third one? The third one is just ignoring it. So then you're stuck in a situation. If you're not getting information, what do you do, right? If I was to take her back to court with that, then she would say the exact same thing, and it would be one more step to try to hold her accountable, which I never did. But I think if you have, and there's another person who I don't think's on tonight, but they did have our family wizard ordered, and their ex was playing that same type of game. But the difference now is when you go back to court and you say, okay, Miss Dwayne, you were ordered to use our family wizard and you didn't, you're violating a court order. Now, is a judge really going to hammer them right at the bat? No. More than likely not. But what does happen is you're establishing that pattern of behavior and you're helping them expose themselves, right? And the courts have the ability to have access, can log in if they, I don't know if they're ever going to do it, but it's there. So if somebody does want to look at it, all those communications are there. So if somebody's being snarky, condescending, hurtful, making threats, whatever, it's all right there. It's all in that system. So that's the reason why, Bryce, I I like it. Oh, God, my throat's bothering me. It says, well, okay, and you said, yeah, I had to put into our court order, kind of following your direction, agreed for the reasoning, but it just wondered if two houses was better. I've heard really good things about two houses. I have not had an opportunity to reach out to him. I did have another subscriber who actually did reach out to him on my behalf saying, hey, you need to talk to this person because, you know, they have a channel. I'm talking about me, have a channel on it. I need to check it out and do that. And two house. Bottom line is whatever. I mean, if you look at both of them at the time when I did it, the only one that was available that I could find was Our Family Wizard, and that was the one that my local court was actually more familiar with as well. If two households, if you like it better and their customer support's better, then absolutely do that. I personally think, and I know I'm getting a little off topic of what for the channel for the show, I personally think that having some type of mandated communication system, not email, even though it costs a little bit of extra money to pay for the service, is important because it's a separate thing, right? I mean, it's like how, you know, so what the only response then is going to be, well, I don't have any connectivity. My computer's completely dead. Well, do you have a phone? Well, my phone's dead. Okay. But you sent me an email the other day. Well, I did, you know what I mean? It's like, it closes off the avenue of being problems. You know, my ex, even to this day, you know, says, oh, I don't check. I mean, she is on her phone constantly, you know, clip, 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 clip. And the problem is, even now, well, I don't push it anymore because it's not an issue. But a few years ago, whenever I was still trying to communicate with her, you know, that would be her response. Oh, did you text me? Oh, I didn't get it. As she's like on literally, you know, on her phone texting someone else. You know, it's like, oh, really? Oh, okay. But so, you know, what do you say to it, right? So that's why I really like these third party systems. So I see Neo Dad says I use Our Family Wizard and it works great. I mean, my ex refused to use it. She never did. I thought there were some good things on there. Okay. And so let me go to the next one. So let me try to get current. I already looked at that one, so let me get down. And whoa, okay. Bryce says, yeah, very true, good for accountability. And that's the main thing, right? And it's one of those things that if it's ordered and they refuse to do it, and then if you end up having to go back to court, then they're violating a court order, right? Whereas if it says email, I mean, when you have that plausible potential, yeah, there's a problem, is it really going to get resolved? I mean, is a court really going to say that they haven't done, you know, that they're doing it on purpose? And more than likely, they'll give them a warning. And even with the Our Family Wizard, they'll probably give them a warning. They'll probably say, hey, your court order to use Our Family Wizard, you need to do it, right? Neo Dad says, my ex is the same way. On the phone every minute of the day, but says, I haven't checked my emails in a few days. I've been busy while she's checking her email on her phone. Yeah, exactly. You know, I mean, and the only way, I mean, technically, the only way that would make sense, I mean, and it's kind of a recommendation I have, is that you would take, and this is legitimate advice that I would give you guys. If you're still getting triggered or having those emotional flashbacks whenever your ex sends emails and stuff, is have another email. Take that email that they use, like if they use, you know, Dwayne at Dwayne.com to always contact me, take it off the phone, put it on a computer, leave only, you know, make a new one and put it on the phone. I mean, so there's a possibility that there is a reason, but it's not. It's bull. They're getting your emails. That's why I use that read notify thing, which I haven't sent her an email in probably 2 months, but that's why I finally subscribed to that so that I know that she gets an email, right? She still doesn't respond most of the time, but I know when she reads it, I know when it's been opened, and I know when it's been opened more than once, which she never opens it more than once. Oh man, Shane. Hey Shane, welcome to the show. And Dee Dee, I didn't see you pop on, so welcome Dee Dee, unless I already said your name and I'm just starting to get loopy. Shane says, my ex would not agree to My Family Wizard because you have to pay for it. It's only like $100 for the whole year. For her, it was not about having accountability to me and the court. Yeah. Yeah, and that's the same thing. My ex said the same thing. I can't afford it. And at the time, I was so angry that I wasn't going to pay for it. I should, in retrospect, I guess it has all worked out, but I should have just probably paid for it. And said, well, here you go. It's paid for. Use it. And then then see that. But the problem is it still wasn't ordered. So I don't think she would have done it. Neo says, with our family wizard, I can set it up to not notify me until 5 p.m. every day with a digest. She knows if it's urgent to text me. Then I'm not hit with the new message pop-ups on my phone. Excellent idea. I didn't realize it did that. It's been a long time. Oh man, Dave says, last time I saw my son, he took a swing at me. Parental alienation to the max. How old is your son again, Dave? I'm sorry, man. That sucks. Lyell says, depression in psychology, a mood or emotional state that is marked by feelings of low self-worth or guilt and a reduced ability to enjoy life. Official definition. That sounds more, I can see how you can summarize that to say you don't care, but it's not that you don't care. It's just you've been beat down so much that you're devastated. So, okay, Mike says to Stephanie, mine did that last year. My e-file got oh crap. So somebody claimed the kids. I warned her she'd get nailed and paper filed. I never heard from the IRS. Hey, Mike, when you did that, did you still get, I'm assuming we're talking about claiming the kids. Did they give you the kids or what? What happened with that? So, Lyle says, for all you experts. Exactly. I'm going to have to make a new cheat sheet with everything. Oh, man. Molly says, you're so loopy, Dwayne. Keep up the good work. Yeah, actually, I came home and crashed. I mean, so I came home, took a nap. I don't know why I was thinking it'd make me feel better. I mean, it did a little, I guess, just to get some rest. But so it'll be interesting to see what happens tomorrow. Hopefully my throat's not completely jacked. Dave says, my son is 16. What a waste of a great future. Well, don't give up on him yet, Dave, because I never took a swing at my dad, but I did treat him like complete crap. And because the alienation that happened to me was freaking ingrained. And I know I did and said some really hurtful things to him over the course of my life. And more than likely, because I will tell you, even when I was doing that, I still wanted to have a relationship with my dad. I still wanted him to be that person I wanted him to be. The problem is his response to my actions reinforced. You know how it reinforced what I thought I believed, right? And what I mean is that my mom had me convinced that he was a piece of crap, self-centered a-hole, and he did have a temper. So when he would get angry and do stuff, it would fall right into line with what I had been programmed to expect from him. That's why I say that you have to be really careful how you respond with your kids. And a lot of times we have to take those, not literal, not like what Dave was talking about, but take those punches, those emotional punches, to demonstrate to them, to our kids, that we care about them and that we're in there for the long haul. But it is really, really, really hard to do. And you couple that with the fact that there's parental alienation. You know that the other parent is systematically not, it isn't helping. It isn't trying to say, hey, it's your dad. You really need to respect him. You can't be doing that type of stuff. The court order says you have to spend some time with him, and it's important that you have your father in your life. They're not saying that. They're saying, well, Johnny, I really wish you didn't have to go see your dad, and I know it's really difficult, and I know he's mean and he's angry and whatever, blah 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 blah. Same bullshit, same story that was told to me. And then they're going to come. Your kids are going to come and have that waiting. They're going to be basically primed at the pump to attack. Now, I did deal with that. That's why, like on the Groundhog Day thing I was talking about, the kids would come over and they would be tense and stressed, and it's like a powder keg. It just takes a little spark to send everything into chaos. Ooh, Dee Dee says try a spoonful of raw honey, which I think I actually have. Well, not raw. I'm not sure if I have raw honey, but I do have honey. Molly says I don't like those punches, and yes, my ex is completely destroying our daughter's self-esteem. Yeah, and unfortunately, if I'm is James here? If James is here, these people just don't care. It's about their narrative and the story backing up their thing. And I think when they're destroying their child, in their mind, it's not that they're destroying their child. It's that, well, Johnny would be fine, but my ex-husband is such a piece of crap. Look what's happening, right? They're not looking at what their role is on it. It's just, oh, thanks. Seriously, James? Yes, I did slip. I try not to. I'm pretty good. Sometimes I do slip. Donnie says lemon and ginger stew, Dwayne. I've stopped coughing up tree frogs. Yeah, there is a bug going around. Oh, man. He says, the ex told my kids I was alienating the kids from him when he has never taken the initiative to come see the kids. His time is always with the new wife. See, and part of it, Dee Dee, and you already know this, but I appreciate you putting this as an example. They constantly want to be the victim. And I mean, and in some ways, if a guy, a narcissistic father who really doesn't give a crap other than themselves, then this situation and the stereotype of the way divorces go works, right? Because you get to say, I would have such an awesome relationship with my children if it wasn't for my evil, conniving ex-wife, right? And there's a part of the population that's going to believe that. And I mean, it's just, it sucks. And the fact that he's saying it to the kids is, this is why it's important that we just focus on what we have, right? Because as soon as we start looking at what the ex is doing, how they're doing it, the damage they're causing, it changes the approach that we're dealing with it. It changes the way we deal with our situation. It changes the way we respond. And it changes the way we interact with our kids. That's why, in my opinion, you're better off doing that black hole thinking to where whatever they're doing, they could be, whatever. They could be saying, your mother is a voodoo master and she's got a doll and is sticking needles in me, all that, whatever. I mean, I'm being sarcastic, but it doesn't matter, right? I mean, unless the kids come back and go, Mommy, Daddy says that you're, whatever, you have a voodoo doll and you're poking him, Most of the time they don't do that, right? And if they did, then you say, seriously, I'm not doing that, right? And you just, you focus on, you kind of pretend that when the kids are with you, that there isn't any other time. I mean, and it's kind of weird because this is exactly the type of crap that, not crap, but this is also what the ex will do and what my ex did with me. She treated me as if I didn't exist. It was like like my opinion, how anything affected me or even how it affected kids. It would have been better off if I was dead. In a lot of ways, we're almost better off looking at this situation that way because then we're not having those continual emotional flashbacks because of it, right? And the problem is, and I had the same issue, is when you're going through that, every time you turn around, you're having, something is irritating you. You see your kids say or do something and dang good and well that it's coming from this whole crazy, stupid scenario because of the actions of the ex. And then you get bitter and angry. You're better off like whatever's happening over there. If the kids say something, you need to validate something or deal with something, you do it, and then you move on from it. It's really tough. It's hard to do. It's not easy. Chris says, lately, my daughter has been saying to me that when I tell her mama I don't like her, it makes her sad. Obviously, this is something the ex is telling her because I never talked to the ex. Yeah, and it's tough. Honestly, Chris, I've had the same thing. I've had my daughter say, "Well, you hate mommy," and I mean, and I remember at one point, I'm trying to remember, I said something and the ex, it was way in the beginning. And I was like, you know what? We're done. I don't care whatever you do. You don't care about me. What is it going to be like for the kids to realize that their mommy, that the daddy doesn't care about mommy anymore? And it's like, it's all manipulative, right? And Chris, that's what your ex is doing. She's and it's tough because you get to the point where, or we get to the point where we hate these other people, and then they push the kids in the middle of it. And the crazy part is they're overacting. Oh, I still care about your daddy. I still care about him. It's just sad that he's so angry and bitter. Maybe one day he'll get over it. And and that could be, it doesn't, I use daddy in that role, but it could be either parent. It's really tough, right? That's why I'm saying focus on your relationship with the kids, right? And try not to get pulled into that. Your kids are going to unfortunately be pawns in this. They are also going to be used for triangulation. You need to know it and then try to minimize it. Because all that is Chris, that is a discussion to try to get you it's to triangulate you, right? If you wanted to see, and then it gets into like, okay, so how do you deal with it, right? My opinion on that would be, I don't even know how you would say it, but just kind of brush it off and say, well, mommy and daddy don't live together anymore, and we have a hard time getting on. I don't hate your mom, but we recognize, both of us recognize that it wasn't a healthy environment. And absolutely, honey, it wasn't a healthy environment for you. So we mutually decided to separate and live separately so that we can have more stability and more love. And then, then you can point out, see, like when we're together, see how, how the chaos is, see how the environment's better, and we don't have that extra stress and things, and we have the guinea pigs, because I know he has guinea pigs and stuff like that, right? That's what you have to do, right? And it's really subtle, if you want to, and I even at some point thought about going the evil route on that before I found out about this, thinking, well, what if I said, well, honey, if I just, our kids, I would absolutely, don't want to be in this situation or whatever. But it's just, I don't do it, right? Tacitly acknowledge the issue. Talk about it in the concept of the adult problems and how that wasn't healthy and how it wasn't a good way to demonstrate to you, Punkin, a negative and bad relationships. And this is where we're at. And you can even say, no, I don't know why mommy's saying that, or why I hope you don't feel that you're getting that from me. And you can say that. So if you're ever with me, and I have said this to my kids, if you're ever with me and I'm saying something that's making you feel that I'm doing that, please let me know. We can talk about it, right? And then by being able to establish that you can talk about those things, it helps, right? And then you slowly, systematically start undermining their narrative, because they're living an illusion and you're dealing with it with a more straight up fact thing. So I know that was kind of a talking ramble, so hopefully that made sense. Oh, man. Oh, Cindy's on. Hey, Cindy, glad you could do that. Bryce said to the other thing, it's a trap. Absolutely. Angela says, painful to be patient, Nikki. I know too. Yeah, it's really hard. It's really hard. And it's hard because a lot of times you don't think that it's going to actually... it's actually going to pay off, and you feel like you're just taking these constant little punches to the face or eye pokes, boop, and it's just devastating. Oh, man. Dan said, hey, Dan says, Dwayne Belly laughing from the impersonations. Every once in a while I like to do those. Oh, man. Ooh, I see Elena is on. So welcome. Glad you could jump on. Elizabeth is on as well. I didn't see you pop on earlier. Mike says, I had a moment of personal growth this past week. My ex had something bad happen to her, and I actually felt empathy. First time in 2 years, I felt bad for her. That's good, right? As long as you don't get drawn back in. I had something like that happen a few years back. They got burglarized, and the kids. It was actually a really great example of being used, right? Because so she had that happen, and she's like, hey, do you have the serial numbers for this? The cops need it. And I'm like, I don't know. So I looked and I found it, right? So I went through, searched my paperwork, found the information, and gave it to her. And as soon as she, so she was nice. She was being nice, got what she wanted, and then went back to normal. So just, it's, Mike, the thing is I think we're all basically empathetic type people, and that's how we got kind of caught up in these things, because we want to believe people and stuff. It's just a matter of you have to, even if you're feeling empathy, which is good, And that's better than just feeling hate for the person, right? I mean, you don't want the opposite to where you're like waiting for something bad happening and happy when it happens, right? So, but just be careful, because what you don't want to have happen is you start thinking that, oh, okay, well, maybe they're not what I thought they were, and then they suck you back in. Molly says, "You're too funny, Dwayne, because I just tell my daughter, you know what, we're both like, and your dad and me are better apart, and she does agree." You know what? That's perfect, and that's a really simple. That's actually even better, right? Because it's a shorter conversation, and then you can move on to something else. So good advice, Molly. Thanks for putting that out there. Molly says, "Yeah, you're right. Empathy is a good trait. It is a good trait. You have to have empathy for people. If you don't have empathy for people, then you can be like a narcissist and just do whatever you want, because you don't have any real feelings or emotion for what happened." Don says, "Mine had a chip on his chip. No, wait a minute. Where'd that go? Mine had a chip on his shoulder too, because I went ahead and became autonomous." Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh heck, my ex, when I first moved out and I was able to actually deal with the kids and wasn't like, "Oh my God, what do I do?" Oh man, that sent things down the pit of hell. Oh my God. She was all happy and everything, "Oh, of course I want you to see the kids. I want you, yada yada." And the first time the kids came over and came back, and it was like they had fun and we played hide and seek in a big empty house. And oh dear God, everything it fell apart after that. Because her expectation was that I couldn't do it, that that it wouldn't, that it wouldn't be good. But this is also the same person that the one time she forced me to. I was working and excuse me, my middle daughter needed to go to the doctor, and she's like, "You need to take the day off and go take her to the doctor." Like, okay, I'm like, "But I work and you don't." But I'm like, "Okay, whatever." So I took the day off, took my youngest to urgent care. We went to urgent care, hung out there. After that was up, took her to, I don't know what, Denny's, and we had something to eat and got milkshakes. And I sent my ex a picture of our daughter with her milkshake. And I got home, and my ex was furious, was livid. "How dare you have a good time? That wasn't about having a good time. That was about taking her to the doctor. You weren't supposed to go have fun with her." I'm like, holy hell. And unfortunately, at that time, I was still so wrapped up into the illusion of the monster that I was like, "Oh, okay." I mean, like, all right. And it actually negatively impacted. I mean, it started alienating me from my kids then, because it blew. I didn't even know what to think about that. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, "Are you what?" Yeah, I got torpedoed. How dare you go and have a good time taking your child to urgent care? Wow. So, anyways, Dan says, "Dwayne and group, stay awesome. Dwayne, hope you feel better." Thank you, Dan. Have a great night, everyone. Brighter days ahead. Absolutely. Uh-oh, what happened here? Oh, I didn't know that was going to shut off. So yeah, Dan, have a good evening, and we shall chat later. Nikki says, "Oh dear God, the horror," or laugh out loud, "the horror of having kids, having fun with their father." Yeah, isn't that just crazy? Excuse me. I remember. Oh, geez. I remember another incident when the kids were going through therapy. The therapist, or my son actually, when he had started, it's like, because they were trying to work on fixing our relationship, right? Because the whole story was that he and I had an estranged relationship. We didn't get along, and he didn't like me, and I was just evil and stuff like that. So, what they would try to do is they said, "Okay, well, you guys need to spend more quality time together." And I had said a thing like, "Oh," and I think even my son may have asked about it. I was like, "Hey, well, maybe I can pick you up on a Saturday when you're with your mom, and we can just go hang out. We can go do something, go out and get something to eat, whatever." And I remember when I proposed that to the ex, and her response was, "Of course, I would love you to do that. You can do whatever you want on your time with the kids." Now, keep in mind, what was it? He was 13. I had a 13, 10, and oh dear God, what was my youngest? 6. I'm like, seriously? And she had all my money, right? So I mean, it was like I couldn't even afford a babysitter. I mean, I was just like, really, really. But that's that's the thing. It's kind of funny. Oh man. Shane says they just constantly use all the people in their life to achieve their selfish goals. That is absolutely true. Um, let's see, what did Bear say? I missed that. Dee Dee says, "Oh my gosh, Dwayne, she flipped because you showed love for your child. Your ex and child are so blessed to have you." Yeah, I know. The frustrating part for a lot of people is, I mean, like the moms out there tonight who have really toxic exes who really don't give a crap about their kids are just going, oh my God, I wish I had, an ex that actually wanted to be involved, that would actually co-parent, would, be interested in doing things. And, you know, and then on the flip side, you have a bunch of men and fathers out there that are the same way. They want to have a relationship with their kids, and the ex just does everything in their power to torpedo it. It's sad, right? I mean, it's just, and it's sad to see these patterns repeat. So, but hopefully, with what we're working on here, with this channel, and what you guys are working on your own personal lives, is going to help break that cycle. That's the hope. Be kind. Welcome, Be Kind. I didn't see you pop on. Says, doesn't it seem a little ironic that the narc is so relentless about hurting you that if they would have spent half the energy on improving, they probably would have a decent relationship? Oh man, I have said that so many times. I mean, even in the divorce, if you could just take half the energy or a quarter of the energy you spend on trying to destroy everything, you would have a good, healthy co-parenting relationship where both parents are involved. And I mean, like some people, I know none of us have this, I don't think anyways, but some people have joint holidays, they can celebrate birthdays with their ex, with the kids and stuff. I mean, and that type of stuff. I've had a friend of mine who was telling me he was him and his wife were hanging out with a friend of theirs, and um, little Johnny was like, "Hey, mom, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna, after a soccer game, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna spend the night with dad tonight. Is that okay? Oh, sure. Grab your stuff out of the car, right? I mean, that type of thing. But no, it's like it turns into this weapon thing. It's like these are my kids, and you won't have them on. These, Mondays and Tuesdays are my days, and you can't talk to them. You can't see them. You can't go. I mean, I had my ex actually try to say school functions. That's my day. You can't go to a school. That's my school function. Like, are you freaking kidding me? The kids have an award ceremony. So it happens to be on Tuesday, so I can't go. Oh, okay, so, and I said this to her. I said, oh, okay, so if they graduate, whenever the kids graduate, and if it's on my day, you can't go to the graduation. And she finally backed off. But there are people who think that way. Oof, wow. That was an emotional flashback for me. Neo Dad said, I've said that a million times, but I'm past saying it now. I don't say anything like that any longer because it's no longer triggering me. And that's the great part, whenever you get to the point that it doesn't trigger you. Okay, guys, I need to take a break. And just for a couple minutes, let me refill my water. I'm not going to get any more tea. And I'll be back in a minute. I wonder if I can pull something. What can see, I don't have anything to pull up. Ooh, well, maybe I could do. No, I'll just be right back. So stand by one. Okay. All right. God, I'm getting hot. How annoying. All right, let me see where we are with the comments. Ooh. I think everybody ran and took a break too. That was perfect timing. Oh, man. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I want to mention or just talk a little bit about that not the secondary um, sabotaging, but just what happened post divorce for me. Yeah, I'm hoping not. Didi says fever. I hope, man, I hope not. I'm hoping it's just from drinking the hot tea. I do have the air on. I mean, these lights do get a little hot, but I do feel like I'm not doing so hot, so that's not so great. Anyways, which will impact my normal videos. So this is probably going to be another low dedicated video week. But we'll see. Sometimes I got to just kind of slow down a little bit. Anyways, back on track with what I wanted to say. So the secondary part, whenever the divorce finally happened, and I went through that euphoria stage where I felt that things were going to be pretty good, and then the rage started and everything. Oh, that's funny. Molly says, Dwayne, you're hot. You said it. Thanks. Appreciate that. Anyways, oh, geez. Now, what I'm trying to say is and I know I've mentioned this before, but the second destructive thing that I did was two parts. One, the depression was bad. And I was just like phoning it in at work and just doing everything in my power to just maintain the illusion that I had some type of control. And then the days I didn't have the kids, I was just locked in my room, sleeping and stuff like that. So that was the first part. And that's kind of typical. But the really bad, Neo Dad's taken off. So says good night, everyone. So good night, Neo. Thanks for jumping in with us and hanging out. It's good to see you again, or see you type. Anyways. Oh, man. Okay, but the second part was money. I was so frustrated by the financial situation, and I believe that what my attorney had said is that she was going to, get a job at some point, and it's like, hey, these are what the numbers will be. So there was some light at the end of the tunnel. So I figured, okay, well, she's going to work at some point. So I was spending money based on the fact that I figured that things would calm down soon and she would get a job and things would change. Now, initially that wasn't the case because I just didn't have any money. But and that's the thing. I think you, excuse me, you start to make rash decisions in these situations that have lasting complications, and that's very destructive. And you can self-sabotage that way as well. If somehow I could have figured that out earlier and really tightened the budget, I would be in a much better situation today. Now, I mean, I'm not in a bad situation, right? Because, things are starting to change. Kids are dropping off. But so now I'm in this stage to where but see, and here's the catch-22, and this is where you get a problem with it, is you can say, well, okay, well, if I don't do anything, then I'm not going to do, the 6 to 7 years, I'm not going to do anything with the kids, and I'm not going to be able to do some things I want to do. And then later, whenever it turns around, it'd be different. But what I'll tell you in my situation is, had I done that earlier on, I don't think it would have made a difference because she was doing the same thing. I mean, I could have played the game that, hey, there's no money for anything to do anything either, and just saved everything up and only spent the bare minimum that I absolutely had to. And then now I would be in a much better situation. Things are starting to turn around now, and I wouldn't be paying off the debt from those other times. So, I mean, I don't know if that's necessarily a great description of self-sabotage. I know that's kind of minor compared to some things that other people are going through, but that was how that manifested with me. I'd love to hear what your experience or thought on that is, and let me check out some of these comments to see to see where we are and see what I've missed. Oh, Camilla Genevieve, I think if I'm saying that right, says, hello, everybody. I hope you feel better, Dwayne. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Welcome to the channel and welcome to the live show. I don't think I've seen your name in the comments before, so you might be a long-time viewer, but I thank you for jumping on and actually saying something. So it was great great for that. And if you happen to be somebody who's changed your name, and I'll use this as a segue right now, that if you are using your real name and you're worried about your anonymity, you should consider changing your YouTube handle or creating an entire new account so that you don't come up as who you are. And there's a lot of people that do that. And I know sometimes that kind of messes me up because somebody will be John one day and they'll be, Crazy Viper 27 and I have no idea who it is. It's hard for me to keep track of that, but I'm fine with it, but if you're worried about it, you absolutely should consider doing that. Every once in a while I walk through how to do that. And you can create secondary accounts too. Like this DSD account is tied off my main account. Actually, I have like four YouTube accounts. This is the main one I use. I use this even for my daily viewing one. Anyways. So Molly says, financially, I'm not in a good space, but for me, I'm not very materialistic. I care well for me and my daughter. And that's awesome. That's perfect. And the thing is I think the financial thing is, as long as you make good decisions, is temporary. Every day that we make a bad decision, like I was just talking about earlier, had I made different decisions, I think I would basically be out of it. And like right now, and then like in a year, my second, Mike says my real name is Acorn. That's funny. And for anybody who's new, the reason he's saying that is for some reason, when I see Acern, sometimes I say Acorn, and I've called him that before. So thanks for the laugh. I appreciate that. But my point is that had I made different decisions, I would be in a better position to even help my kids more, to do things more with my kids now, and not be doing it off of credit and stuff like that. But I made those poor decisions. I have to now pay for them literally and try to recover. So Camilla says, yes, that's how you say it, and it is not my real name. I also used to go by, Andrea Bordeaux. Okay. So I've been here with you for more than a year now. See, that's what I'm saying. So, but I noticed the new handle. So I typically can see whenever someone pops up. Dave says squirrel. Yeah, and it's even worse when I'm loopy. So, I'm not even on medication. I probably should be. I probably should take some NyQuil or something afterwards. Shane says my divorce was 2 years long and cost a whole year. Oh my God, a whole year's salary. I have the house to my ex. She wanted more than the kids. She wanted that more than the kids. Wait a minute. So Shane, you gave the house to your ex. She wanted that more than the kids, and you got more time with your kids? Dude, if you were able to pull that one off, kudos to you. And you may have mentioned that before, but that's another good segue, guys. What I want to, this is something I see a lot, and it's real easy to fall into the trap of being so irritated at your ex that you want them to pay somehow, right? Like you want child support, or you want alimony, or you want, whatever it is. And I would ask you to consider the possibility that if you backed off on that, could you get more time with the kids? Because you're not dealing with a normal if you're legitimately dealing with somebody who has strong narcissistic traits and strong cluster B, potential that if they were that they would get diagnosed, going after that creates a whole nother battle, and it's like poking a bear. And I understand that money is important, and I understand that you don't want your ex to get away with everything and be able to have that skipping down the road life. But man, if you can come up with a solution to where you don't push it and you're able to, well, here's the secondary part. So let's say you don't push it, right? You don't push it. They say, okay, fine. You get 80/20, you're only charging them, 50/50 rates or even less. Um, Once you establish what that time is, so if you do that and you're able to make it work, and then a couple years later, once you've established it, if you want to go back, I wouldn't recommend it because it's going to start a fight from hell. But it puts you in a better situation because then they're going to be trying to say, hey, wait a minute, I want the kids more, whatever. But see, then you got to realize that, right? That if you could, okay, so let me back up because the other thing that happened, and I didn't understand this. I had a friend of mine at work who, and I was mad at how much I was paying my ex. I was talking to this guy and he was like, yeah, I'm paying her a ton of money. I'm paying her at 50/50, but she never sees the kids. And I'm like, dude, that's messed up. You should, that's bull. You should go after her for that. And his comment, and at the time I didn't get it. I really didn't. He said, it's an insurance policy. I'm paying her to stay away because I know if I go after her and try to lower that number, she's going to want the kids and she's not a great mom and it's bad. It's worse for the kids. So it's better for me just to pay her, I'm stable. I've stabilized it. I think he made some better decisions than I was making. And that was his focus, right? And at the time, I didn't understand it. It blew my mind that someone would even say that. I'm like, that's crap. She shouldn't get away with it. But he had gotten to the point that he was able to focus on his boys and what was best for them. And he knew that she was not a good mom, that she wasn't, we never really talked about it. I never talked about narcissistic personality disorder. In retrospect, in a lot of ways, that's probably what, not probably, it's probably exactly what she was. So that's something I just, if you're struggling with that or you're thinking about it and you're like, man, he's getting away with more. It needs to go a different way. Try to think about that. And maybe it can help give you a better situation. Spiritually Power's taking off because I know she's on the east side of the country or East Coast-ish type thing in Canada. So thanks for hanging out. Appreciate it. I know it's probably like 10:30 there for you. It looks like Alex jumped on. I got a note from him earlier that he just had another Supreme Court victory. Let me see if I can find the comment that he made. Let's see here. Ooh, you did a video on it. Okay. Alex says, the best day ever for a live stream. And then he says, where did it go? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? So, hold on a second. Let me try this. All right, Alex. What did you... 18 minutes. All right, so he's talking about this video he just popped up. Deserve victory. This is my second update video right to the heels of my victory today in Court of Appeals. I cover my fourth appellate victory. So check after, not during.
Alex here with another update.
Hey, I think the audio even worked on that. So if it wasn't 18 minutes, I would run it. I should have had, you know what, Alex? I should have had you do a teaser video I could have ran. But you guys check that out. Let's see what else he has written down here on this. I cover my fourth appellate victory, my thoughts on becoming a lawyer, important understanding my first-time viewers should receive, super chat and live stream questions. Did you do this live? Okay, so you're also talking about what's going on with your channel. So, anyways. All right. Let me go back over here. Well, awesome for you, for Alex. Great victory. And we'll have to chat a little bit about the live stream stuff. If you need any help, let me know. Let me try to get this back over to, whoops, wrong button. Hit the wrong button. Oh, man. Okay, where are we at? All right, so I got that back. I got that back up. Oh, cool. So the audio, yeah. See, that was the other thing I was trying to figure out is how to do stuff so I can actually play different videos and stuff. Yeah, cool. Yeah, do a teaser video, Alex, and I'll show it. I'll show it next Tuesday. So. Angela, I'm trying to read that comment. It says, you look like the commander in chief right now, Dwayne. No, not look like Trump, just strong. I don't feel strong. I feel like I'm operating on, half speed. So Molly says, love to all, and I sincerely mean it. Got to go do some stuff, and I think my daughter wants to talk to me. Oh, that's a priority. Dwayne, take care. And yes, people here do love you. Aw, thanks. Appreciate it. Jenny says, did you folks see Trump and Frizz? No, I didn't see that. I heard it on the radio, but on the way back, but I didn't see that. So I think I've about run out of speed. If there's another question, let's hit some stuff. If you guys have something you want me to hit before I go, let's throw that out there. And then otherwise, I'm going to start shutting down because I am not feeling 100% today. So, and with that, I think I've actually done pretty decent considering. So. So Dave's punching too. Says, yep, 10:30 on the East Coast. Stay safe all and live strong. Night all. Good night, Dave. Thanks for hanging out. Let's see. Let me double check. James has a question. Do you really have a question? Are you going to ask me what I mean by these people? Is that your question, James? Yeah, I need to get some rest. So I love doing these things. I look forward to doing these shows. And at least today, I feel like my audio and everything's working better. I was really bummed the last couple of times with some of the technical problems I was having. Hey, Robert. I don't know I think you just popped on. So you guys just give a shout out and a thumbs up to Robert because he helped me troubleshoot this. Honestly, it might have been 3 hours, maybe more. It was, literally just painstakingly breaking equipment down, testing it, trying to find out where this ground loop was. Yeah, thanks, Robert. I appreciate it. And the really sad part is after we cut off, I went and grabbed something to eat, came back to test everything, and it all went to crap again. So I had to rip everything out and do it again. What ended up happening, just so you know, is I'm using the other mixer, which obviously sounds better. It's got better preamps. And then I ended up moving excuse me, I ended up moving my video encoder from the external hub and plugging it directly into the MacBook. And that seems to have worked. I don't hear anything, any hums, and no one else has had to hear anything. Yeah, I appreciate it. Robert says, glad to assist. And I really do appreciate it because trying to troubleshoot audio problems, you need somebody who understands the audio on the other side, who can really hear what the problem is to help you find it. And it's a pain. And I really appreciate you doing that. And I know I took a lot of your time. So I appreciate that. Robert and I might be, we're working on an idea for a project. So you guys might hear more about that later with some stuff that he's working on as well. So we'll talk more about that when we get closer to that. Schaefer1234, he says you'll be feeling better by tomorrow. God, I hope so, Schaefer Wand. Thanks for pushing through to do another live stream. Alex, the proper person, congratulations again. You make me want to go pro se. Yeah. Robert says, glad it all worked out. Great. You sound great. Awesome. Thank you. I really do appreciate it. Okay. So Shane says, so glad I joined my first time. Been following your channel since the beginning. Feel better. Oh, thanks. Well, I'm glad you jumped on too. I know this isn't exactly the best time slot. So when I win the lottery and can do this full time and run this as a, nonprofit or a business or whatever, then I can do better time and stuff like that. And oh man, that would be so awesome. There's so many different things I want to do. On that, I'm actually I've been talking to a lot of people. I'm talking to Alex about doing some stuff, David about doing some stuff. Both him and Alex are in Vegas, so that'll be easier. And some other things going on. So it's just a matter of getting the time to do it. So, okay, on that, guys, before I go, let me just, if you want to get notified via text of the live show, please send DSD Live, text that to 33222. And whenever I go, there's like 33 people on it, and I pay for that. So sign up for it, guys, because if you're in the U.S., because it doesn't work overseas, which is really annoying. But then you'll get a text saying when I'm going live and with the link to the show. I didn't send the newsletter out tonight, but if you go to the Dad Surviving Divorce website, which isn't popping up, There we go. You can send me an email following this link right here, or through the contact page. This link will open up a email in your email client. This will open up a web form, which I'm not going to click on it because it runs slow. If you scroll down, you can support the channel if you want to through this make a donation thing. If you want to do that, I have a couple people who are doing reoccurring donations on that. And I really appreciate it. I'm not going to call anybody out on it, but I do appreciate the support. It means a lot to me and helps out. You can sign up for the newsletter by filling out this this form here. It's I would say it's weird because some people unsubscribe. I wish when people would unsubscribe, I knew why, so I could just know. You can send me a voicemail via this little service right here, and if you click on the resources tab, these are some things that have really helped me through it. I list the Alchemist. I was talking to Robert about this actually the other day when he was helping me troubleshoot the audio. He likes this book as well. Even though it's not about narcissism, I think this is a phenomenal book, and it really helped change my life. This book was phenomenal too, Divorce Poison by Richard Warshak. I need to ping him again about trying to bring him on the channel. I did that maybe year before last, and wasn't able to pull it together. I haven't talked about this book in a while, this Rebuilding When Your Relationship Ends. This is an outstanding book. I would highly encourage you to check this out because it did help me understand how I got to the position I was at and to how to basically rebuild my life going forward. I know some of you guys don't like the hypnosis thing, but when I was really in my dark days, I did use these hypnosis files, and it's a pay thing. Technically, anything you follow on here, if you actually buy anything, I get like affiliate link stuff. So full disclosure on that. But that hypnosis thing really helped me when I was struggling. And okay, so on that, thank you guys for hanging out and bearing with me with my loopiness. I think I felt really good about the show. Maybe when I review it, I might change my mind on that. But I think it went well. Alex says this was one super short to prove a point that I didn't need to bloat it up to win. I prepped it that way. That's awesome, Alex. And I'll see if maybe I can ping you a little bit afterwards. I saw a note that you were trying to get a hold of me. Cindy says, thanks for another amazing live stream. You are so appreciated. Oh, thanks, Cindy. I appreciate that. Angela's congratulations to Alex. Bear says, good night, all. Thanks for keeping me sane. Thanks, Dwayne. Well, thanks for hanging out with us, Bears Cats. And on that, guys, I'm not sure about the rest of the week's video schedule because I get the kids back tomorrow. I have them this weekend. However, I may try to shoot another one. I'm going to start trying to do some more of those B-rolly, vloggy things, and because I think I like shooting them, and I think you guys enjoy them. So I'll probably keep trying to do some. I'll probably work on some of that this weekend. Schaefer Juan says, I'm beginning to understand why you push understanding procedure when representing yourself. The law is really laid out well. Yeah, he's talking about to Alex, and that's why a lot of his videos are on that. And Bryce says, thanks for the show. Camila says, I wouldn't have known you were under the weather. You did great. Oh, thanks. Appreciate it. And on that, guys, okay, so I'm going to wrap it up. I will see you. Everything is on whatever. I will be back on Tuesday. Like I said, I have my kids starting tomorrow. So if I do record a video, it's either going to be an outside video or it's going to be on my secondary set locked in my back room. That's like the only time I'll record when the kids are here. If they're doing something else, I'll try to shoot. Sometimes I'll shoot a video back there, but it makes it a little more complicated. On that, I hope you're feeling well. Hope you're doing well. It was a good show. Great discussion. Old Johnny Road says, smash that like button and check out the Discord. I forgot to mention the Discord. So, yeah, so anyways, we'll chat about that later. Check out the Discord if you haven't seen about it. Worst case, send me an email and I'll send you the link. On that, guys, have an outstanding rest of your evening. Be kind to yourself. If you notice that you're self-sabotaging, try to make an active decision, as I hit my microphone, to stop doing that and make different choices, because everything that we do that's negative makes it harder to crawl out of this hole. So anything that we can do to make it easier, faster is better. Okay? And on that, I will chat with you on the next video. Take care.